In 1935, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act after mounting pressure from working class and older Americans for fair distribution of relief during the Great Depression. The Townsend Plan, or the Old Age Revolving Pension Plan, was popular among older Americans, many of whom lost their savings in the 1929 stock market crash. Proposed by Dr. Francis Townsend of California, the Townsend Plan argued for $200 a month for all citizens over 60. Instead, FDR signed the Social Security Act for senior citizens and citizens with disabilities. Before the passage and success of Social Security, which remains one of the most popular programs in the United States today, many disabled and elderly Americans felt forgotten by their president. They wrote to FDR's administration to remind FDR and Mrs. Roosevelt that while it was good for the U.S. government to tend to its younger citizens, ignoring older Americans who had helped raise the next generation and neglecting the country's disabled would send a clear message about which Americans deserved to live and which did not. Welcome to History in Letters and Memoirs Great Depression series. This collection intends to be a living history that draws from two books, Down and Out in the Great Depression, Letters from the Forgotten Man by Robert S. McIlvaine, and Dear Mrs. Roosevelt, Letters from Children of the Great Depression by Robert Cohen. Each installment in this series features a selection of letters organized by topic, with a few excerpts from Cohen, McIlvaine, and other sources to provide additional context. Although these letters were written almost a century ago, their content feels unnervingly close. Because Cohen and McIlvaine have taken great care to faithfully transcribe each letter as it was written, every letter is displayed on screen as it is read. Images from the time period accompany the text. I try my best to read word for word, but at times I make minor changes to language and sentence structure. I claim sole responsibility for any mistakes in interpretation. Likewise, cadence and tone of voice are my subjective attempt to convey the deep feeling with which 1930s Americans wrote to their presidents and politicians, sharing their lives, their despair, their hope, and their need. Mrs. Franklin D. Roosevelt, Washington, D.C. Dear Mrs. Roosevelt, would you be kind enough to read the following as it deals with a very important subject which you are very much interested in, as well as myself. In the President's inaugural address delivered from the Capitol steps the afternoon of his inauguration, he made mention of the forgotten man, and I, with thousands of others, am wondering if the folk who was born here in America some 60 or 70 years ago are this forgotten man the President had in mind. If we are this forgotten man, then we are still forgotten. We, who have tried to be diligent in our support of this most wonderful nation of ours, both social and otherwise, we in our younger days tried to do our duty without complaining. We have helped to pay pensions to veterans of some 3 wars. We have raised the present young generation and have tried to train them to honor and support this, our home country. And now, a great calamity has come upon us, and seemingly no cause of our own. It has swept away what little savings we had accumulated, and we are left in a condition that is impossible for us to correct for 2 very prominent reasons, if no more. First, we have grown to what is termed old age. This befalls every man. Second, as we put forth every effort in our various business lines, trying to rectify and reestablish ourselves, we are confronted on every hand with the young generation taking our places. This, of course, is what we had looked forward to in training our children, but with the extraordinary crises which left us helpless and placed us in the position that our fathers did not have to contend with. Seemingly everybody has been assisted, but we the forgotten man, And since we for 60 years or more have tried to carry the load without complaining, we have paid others' pensions, we have educated and trained the youth, and now we are old and down and out of no reason of our own, would it be asking too much of our government and the young generation to do by us as we have tried our best to do by them, even without complaint? We have been honorable citizens all along our journey. Calamity and old age has forced itself upon us. Please do not send us to the poor farm, but instead allow us the small pension of $40 per month, and we will do as we have done in the past, not complain. I personally know of widows who are no older than I am, who own their own homes and draw $45 per month pension. These ladies were born this side of the Civil War, the same as I. Therefore, they never experienced war trouble. Please do not think of us who are asking this assistance as old, broken-down, dishonorable citizens. But we are of those born in this country and have done our bit in making this country. We are folk in all walks of life and business. For example, I am an architect and builder. I am not old, broken-down, illiterate, dishonorable man, although I am 69 years old. But as I put forth every effort to regain my prestige in business, I am confronted on every side by the young generation taking my place. Yes, this is also the case even in the effort of the government with its recovery plan, even though I am qualified to superintend any class of construction, but the young man has captured this place also. What are we to do since the calamity has swept our all away? We are just asking to be remembered, with a small part as we have done to others. $40 a month is all we are asking. Mrs. Roosevelt, I am asking a personal favor of you, as it seems to be the only means through which I may be able to reach the President. Some evening very soon, as you and Mr. Roosevelt are having dinner together privately, will you ask him to read this, and we American citizens will ever remember your kindness. Yours very truly, R.A. Lincoln, Nebraska, May 19th, 1934. Dear Mrs. Roosevelt, I hardly know how to start this letter to you, and maybe I shouldn't bother you with it, but I just want you to know the dirty trick I had served me. Several businessmen have advised me to write to you. I had been employed as clerk at E.J. Schlichter Company, this city, for 7 years, 5 months until the NRA went into effect. The National Recovery Administration, or NRA, was established by FDR in 1933 as a way to bring fair labor practices to businesses operating during the Great Depression. It was meant to create a minimum wage and maximum weekly hours to promote worker confidence and solidarity among struggling businesses. Workplaces that did not display the Blue Eagle, a symbol of company compliance with the National Industrial Relief Act, were frequently boycotted by consumers. Despite an increase in production across industries, the NRA was plagued by codes violations, unenforceable rules, and was ultimately declared unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court in 1935, though many of its regulations carried through to future legislation and inspired union solidarity in the decades to come. They let me out, said they couldn't pay me $14 a week. When I first started to work there, they paid me $12.50, then cut me to $9, then to $8. For the last year, we worked every other week. That was at the rate of $4 a week. We could hardly live, but with help kept our humble home together. Oh, how hard they worked us. Had to do 2 people's work. I was as tired of an evening lots of times. I went right to bed, but was glad to do it, as I needed the money so bad. I am a widow. I have a son, 18 years old. Also have my mother with me. She is 77 years old. My husband was an ex-soldier, served 18 months in France. He came home sick and was never able to work again. I worked all the time trying to keep our home together. We had an awful hard time. Last December 10th, he died, poor thing, Just 2 days before he died, he said Christmas was coming and we didn't have anything. He didn't even have any warm clothes. We tried so hard to get a pension for him, but could never get it through. Until the day after he died, I received a letter saying as soon as a rating was set, he would be notified. But of course it was too late. Had he only lived a few more days, it would have made him feel so good because he worried about us so. I had no insurance because I couldn't keep it up. When the NRA went into effect, I was so happy. I had planned to lay in some coal and pay on some bills I owe. I guess I was too happy. On August 4th, that was the week I was off, they come to my house in the evening and told me they would have to let me go because they would have to pay me $14 a week, and they couldn't do it. She said business was so bad they were going to get a manager. She said they didn't have a thing in the world against me and didn't want any hard feelings. Mr. Roosevelt, what hurt me so, the other woman they kept is married. Her husband has steady work. She also has a daughter working. They own their own home, have a car. Early in the summer, she told me they had coal laid up for the winter, and they kept her and let me go. They also knew that I didn't have a cent coming in. She had been there longer than I had, so I suppose that is why they kept her. They didn't give me any notice. Mr. Roosevelt, it almost killed me. I cried all day Friday and Saturday. Sunday my nerves gave away and I fell to the floor. The doctor said it was too much of a shock for me. I had a complete collapse, nervous breakdown. I was in bed 5 weeks, almost died, was awful sick. I'm up and around now, but awful nervous and weak. Doctor said I won't be able to work for 4 months. Was the worst shock I ever had. Mr. Roosevelt, they never came to see me. That hurt me terrible. I talked to the priest about it, as he came every day to see me while I was so bad, and he said they were ashamed, that was the reason. Mr. Roosevelt, they are so wealthy, have 2 grocery stores and a dry goods department, also own half a share in the ice company, all have swell homes and cars, and we haven't anything, only what we have given to us. My sister and brother help us a little, but can't a whole lot. My son only had 1 more year in high school, but couldn't go back as he didn't have clothes or books. I wanted him to finish school so bad because he isn't a bit strong. I have an NRA sticker in our window, and several people have told me they would sure take that down because the NRA didn't do anything for me. Lost my job, they said. But I told them, wasn't the wish of our good president, nor Mr. Johnson either. It was just the dirty people I worked for. They knew they could get by with it. I wish I could talk with you and tell you how dirty they are. When the NRA went into effect, how they cussed and wasn't going to do it, they talked it over and decided they had better or they would be boycotted. They said they bet they would never vote the Democratic ticket again. Isn't that awful? And they were all raised Democrats. Their father is dead, and the boys and 1 sister runs the business, and are they dirty. Mr. Roosevelt, I don't think they are doing right by keeping that married woman. If she is going to work, then let him go, because there are so many men out of work. I think there should be a law to that effect. I thought it was to be that way, that if the husband worked, then the woman couldn't. The people here are sure sore about the way they did me, and several have quit trading there. One businessman said they ought to be made to pay my salary for 1 year, also my doctor bill. I am not able to work now, and it is all their fault. I wish you would take the Blue Eagle away from them because they are not doing their part. Mr. Roosevelt, what I am going to ask you, will you give me a widow's pension? I just have to have some help. It will mean so much to me and so little to the government if we could only keep our home. No matter how humble, it's home. We only pay $12 a month rent, and I would be so happy if you can do this for me. Someone told me the other day that they are worried the way they did me, and are afraid they will get some word from the government, but I don't know if that is true or not, because they aren't afraid to do anything. Please, Mr. Roosevelt, give me a widow's pension. I am deserving of it, as I have had, and am having, an awful hard time. I feel like I would go insane if I didn't get some help before long. My poor mother is down sick in bed just from worry. Please, Mr. Roosevelt, I am asking you again to help me. I will remember you in my prayers. As I always do say, without prayer, we are lost. Please pardon me for bothering you. Hoping you will write to me, I am yours very sincerely, Mrs. B. H. Connorsville, Indiana, 1934. P.S. Please do not mention my name to them, should you write to them. Since I started this letter to you, I am back in bed again. Some other trouble has come up. Doctor said is caused from being on my feet so much. As soon as I get a little stronger and my nerves better, I will have to be operated on. I am so worried. I am begging you from the bottom of my heart for help. Please give me a widow's pension. It will make me so happy to know that I will have a little income. God bless you. Dear Mrs. Roosevelt, you must excuse me for writing to you, but I have heard that you would like the pension for old people to be set at $30 a month. Mrs. Roosevelt, I would be very thankful if you could force that through. I see that you have us old folks in mind that have not a thing. I am living in North Dakota, and we have just gotten through the old age pension bill. It will be $12.50 a month. $12.50. So when one is going to pay the house rent and have a little for clothes and some to eat, why, it isn't much. I am so glad to get that much, but we are not able to get any before the 1st of May, and that is a long time to wait, for we hasn't anything. I am now 72 years old and have never had anything. I have always been poor and have always worked hard, so now I am not able to do any more. I am all worn out, but I'm able to be around, and I thank God that I have no pains. It is hard to be old and not have anything. I do not own as much as 1 cent to my name, so I know God would bless you if you could help us and get more money for pension, so we would have enough to eat. I am sure, Mrs. Roosevelt, you will try all you can to help us old folks. The President has done a great deal to help all the working people, and I am sure he will help you too with this pension. I enclose Mr. and Mrs. Roosevelt in my prayers. God bless you both, and may you live long on this earth to be of help to all the needy. God bless you always, from a poor Norwegian wife in North Dakota. Mrs. A. A. Petersburg, North Dakota, March 21st, 1934. Mrs. Roosevelt, I am writing you in regards to my condition, and the reason that I am writing to you is that I think the women is more sympathetic than men for the old and distressed people. If there is any way or anything that you could do or say that would help me a little in my last days, I would be very thankful. I have almost lived out my 70 and have been in ill health for 2 years, not able to work any. I have no income at all. I have a wife and 2 children looking to me for support. I was on the federal relief as part of last winter, and by fraud or some reason I was cut off in March, not knowing the cause. The Civic Works Administration was phased out rapidly in 1934. From 1933 to 1934, FDR had implemented the CWA to provide work and relief, especially over the winter months. However, Roosevelt disbanded it suddenly over fears of excessive borrowing and after virulent criticism of the program from the right. And I think if there is anyone who actually needs help, I am one of them. We are destitute of food and raiment, with no income, no relation to help me, just on the mercies of the people, and I have 2 statements from 2 doctors in the committee office at the county seat showing my disability. Mrs. Roosevelt, you have a talk with the President and see if there is any way for me. I read your speech in the paper in regard to old age pension. I sure would be glad if it does become a law to give all old aged people that are in distress a living in their last days. As for myself, I would be glad to get it for a short time, but I will not need it long. My time is about up. If you could give me any advice that would help me in any way, I sure would appreciate it, and stand by any candidate that stands for the old age pension. Respectfully yours, J.C.G., Webbville, Kentucky, September 7th, 1934. Creating a living history is not without expense. If you would like to support the channel, please consider making a donation. I've put a link in the description. You can also support by hitting the like button, subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss a video, and dropping a comment below on which letter catches your attention and why. Turn to the person next to you and tell them what caught your attention and why. Ask them for their perspective. Listen, respond, connect, continue. Thank you for keeping this history alive. Apart from assistance in creating a caption file, History in Letters and Memoir is an AI-free channel. Dear Madam, I read your touching letter about the old friend you had neglected and how she had fallen upon evil times and how you had worried you had not helped her. Now is your opportunity to retrieve your mistake. There are thousands of aged women in this great and rich country who are facing poorhouse or suicide. It is not their fault that they are poor, not that they are too old to work. The suicide rate is now 1 in every 27 minutes. By far, there is no doubt that it will be 27 suicides in 1 minute. Now, there are a lot of us who will choose suicide in preference to being herded into the poorhouse. The Atlantic calls from our shores that there is plenty of room for us. I have faithfully studied all the plans of relief offered, but this great array of aged are not considered. But if the Townsend Plan were put into effect, all classes and ages would be benefited. Therefore, we ask you in the name of humanity to use your influence for it. If you do not, you will have the pleasant recollection that you have condemned us to a death of humiliation. I am 80 years old, neither a Ranton nor a Red. My pedigree is as good as yours. My people have always been loyal to our country. Very truly yours for the Townsend Plan, Mrs. F.E.G. Beverly, Massachusetts, December 4th, 1934. Dear Senator of Arkansas, I am writing to you in regard to conditions in Arkansas. The people that is on the transient bureau are starving to death. $2.50 per week is for a family of 2, going filthy and dirty, will not give clothing to anyone, then have to beg for it. I myself asked for a syringe. I have to take an injection for my bowels to move, have ever since my babe was born over 32 years ago, was torn and wasn't attended to right. A terrible affliction through no fault of my own, but if kept well with good attention to myself. They tell me they do not give syringes. I lost my money when the banks closed, haven't anything, and millions of others have done the same. Author's note. Although the still prosperous were fond of accusing the down and out of having failed to be thrifty during prosperity, many of the latter had saved diligently, only to see their nest eggs vanish in the bank failures of the early Depression. One of the decade's favorite cartoons showed a prudent squirrel asking a man on a park bench, "But why didn't you save some money for the future, when times were good?" "I did," the victim replies. "And am getting along in years, but if the old age pension is given, am eligible to it. Praise the Lord, everything turns out all right. In the name of Christ Jesus, will you please look into this money that was appropriated for the people? But they are not getting it, herded in dirty rooms. I came from a good family and have pride. I'm nervous, can hardly write this letter. My husband is in hospital. If he was to pass away, would not have anything to put him away. My head aches to look at the conditions of the world. The dear Lord gave plenty for us all. Some people wants it all. The dear Senator, will you please look into this horrible crime visited upon the world? Thank you. Mrs. J. W. Little Rock, Arkansas, January 10th, 1935. Many thanks to the historians and archivists whose painstaking work preserves our history. Many more thanks to the forgotten men, women, and children from the Depression era whose words reach through time, offering wisdom and warning.